Hello, Michael Swain here after KU basketball's 84-62 win over Indiana. Man, just another really impressive performance from this Kansas team, and it feels like each time since that Tennessee loss that Kansas is going to face a test, they really do meet it head on. I think that's been super impressive about this team really over this last kind of 4-game stretch where they've just been dominating teams, averaging over 90 points per game, holding opponents to 62 points per game over the last 4 performances. And I think the defense is where things start today, and that's what Bill Self had to say post-game, is that this was KU's best defensive performance of the season so far. And I think this is a team that is quickly learning how to play together as a unit. I mean, how could they not? You've got Kevin McCullough, DeJuan Harris, 2 incredible on-ball defenders, 2 great individual defenders. You've got someone in KJ Adams that can really move his feet, and I think at times maybe he's the best defensive rebounder, but in terms of guarding is really good. And Grady Dick and Jalen Wilson have both been fine through periods, and I think Grady Dick today against Indiana had his best defensive performance of the season. You think about 5 steals for him, a career high, in addition to scoring 20 points. And it's kind of crazy now that you think about Grady Dick and 20 points is just casual. It doesn't seem like he has to work for it. He's just an impressive player overall, and I think defensively this Kansas team is just rounding into form as Big 12 play comes. And Big 12 is going to be challenging again this year like it has been for really the last 5 to 7 years. And I really do think that you look at the defensive side of the ball, and if Kansas can continue to guard like they have been since they got back from the Bahamas, this is a team that is going to be really hard to beat, because offensively they're going to be able to get out in transition. We'll talk about steals here in a second, but that's how Kansas is able to score so many points, is some of those transition buckets and the secondary transition opportunities that they get as well. So I think the steals that you saw today, it's an incredible number. 17, the most since KU had in 2011, I want to say, against UMKC. I think that's what I saw post-game. Incredibly impressive. 23 turnovers is also a season high for Indiana. They really made Indiana panic, and I think the ball pressure from those guards we mentioned was impressive. And I think even guys coming off the bench, Zuby Ejiofor, Bobby Pettiford, 2 guys that, in at least Bobby's case, has been hot and cold this year. Zuby hasn't really played much, and both of those guys were just so incredibly impressive. And then you look offensively, and man, Grady Dick continues to play well. DeJuan Harris, get this, first double-double of his career, 10 points, 10 assists. When I saw that post-game, I was startled. I would have sworn that he had had a double-double before, but no, his first one of his career. And he really didn't take a shot until, the second half? And then all of a sudden he goes off and scores 10 points. I think it was about 8 straight points or 8 major points in a run that Kansas had. So he was impressive. Kevin McCullough continues to notch double-doubles, 11 points and 11 rebounds for him. I mean, this is just a Kansas team that overall is playing so well right now, and it's coming at the perfect time. Big 12 play right around the corner. The game against Harvard on Thursday is going to be interesting. That's a game that can be sleepy at times, and even if the crowd here in Allen Fieldhouse today wasn't necessarily packed, the students are on their winter break now, so it was a little bit of a lighter student crowd. Crowd still made a ton of noise, but interested to see what that's going to be like against Harvard on Thursday. But after that, KU goes out for Christmas. They play again 9 days later against Oklahoma State, and they start Big 12 play. And I think if you're a KU fan, you're probably hoping that, hey, keep this momentum going, because I think as we've seen in recent years, Kansas can drop a game in the first 2 weeks of Big 12 play, and you've got some big road tests against Texas Tech and West Virginia. So I think overall, I don't think there's a better team in the Big 12 right now, at least playing, than Kansas is. They're in great form, and now it's just about building on this non-conference play, and KU's done its job. You had the one game against Tennessee where it was lackluster, right? DeJuan Harris has the foul trouble. He barely plays, and outside of that, KU's looked really good over the last month. So I think this Kansas team is looking like they're head towards another Big 12 title. Of course, conference play is going to be a huge challenge. Texas, Baylor, even Texas Tech can be good. So I think it's going to be a fascinating next month, 2 months of basketball for KU. But this Jayhawks team is so much fun to watch, and it's a different looking team than maybe we're used to. So as always, stay tuned to Fog.net. We will have you covered with all sorts of KU coverage from this game. Of course, recruiting, National Signing Days this week. Exciting times ahead. So stay tuned to Fog.net. We've got you covered on all things Kansas.